Okay, so if this is the first episode you're seeing, first segment of this episode, our first part had, it had a cartoon clip in it from Secret Wars, from Spider-Man. If for some reason that you're watching this on YouTube and that got flagged because the whatever, which I'm getting the video from YouTube, so I hope not, go to either our website, counterdigital.tv, or blip.tv and search for Geek Church, or iTunes and search for Geek Church, and you can find that first part, or the whole show actually, that way. So our first segment, of course, is, just in case you didn't see, we are doing a Secret Wars, what if we were in Spider-Man's position. Now, here's a few ground rules that we kind of set for ourselves. First off, it's not from the point of if we were like Spider-Man. We decided to come up with if we what powers we'd have, and so we've decided
superhero identities, but without.
But based off of us, our personalities, our builds, our talents and stuff, what we would have, and I've decided that as much as I would love to be some sort of flying, energy blasting, teleporting, or something kind of character, I pretty much would have Luke Cage's powers. I think if I was in the comic book world, and Luke Cage has. He is super strong and invulnerable. They say unbreakable skin, but it's more than that. Because otherwise, you punch him, his skin wouldn't be broken, but all of his organs would turn to jelly. And we came up with Jeff as basically having Cyclops' power, his optic blast.
Optic blast. Did we decide if I can control it or not? No, Brady.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, why? No, because you wouldn't be his personality and his backstory. You just have his ability. So yeah, you have an optic blast.
I've never fallen out of a plane before. So.
Yeah, so you have an optic blast, you can control it, you don't have to wear stupid goggles. We came up with that we each got to come up with 8 characters, because in the show he got to bring 7 characters, but then got enough energy to bring 1 more later. Now we put the stipulation that 1 more later is less for it. Not that it's not strategic, but it's more of someone, he brought his girlfriend slash, she wasn't really his girlfriend at the time, but he was romantically involved. But not that we need to be romantically involved with them, because we're both in a relationship. Oh, I'm married, he has a serious girlfriend. But because someone that we want more of a less for their abilities and more for morale or something. They're a wild card. Let's say they're a wild card. Yeah, that being the reason is some sort of wild card that's not just because it's they're super strong, they can just fight. So it's 7 main characters and then a wild card character that we threw in. And then of course there's us. So I'm basically Luke Cage's power. I'm super strong. So we took that into play because obviously I wouldn't bring in Luke Cage because I don't need him because I have his same powers. So that's retarded. And he's not going to bring in Cyclops because he has his same powers but better because you can control him.
I can control it and you can't.
So that's kind of the whole idea with that. Yeah, so let's just go through, I guess. So what we're doing is the other thing we put on ourselves, because we realized it'd be really easy to go, okay, I want Silver Surfer, I want Thor, I want Hulk. It would be no contest. You could smash the bad guys easily. But based off the whole idea is it was supposed to be a battle between good and evil, and you have to represent good. So the rules we set for ourselves, and the whole idea is that there's a database in this computer that he could pick from. He couldn't just pick anyone. So how would we simulate that computer? Well, we came up with a couple rules to simulate that. One, they have to represent good. So that, of course, gets out people like Hulk. Yeah,
anyone that's not indifferent, or that they genuinely fight for good to help mankind.
Hulk, he's been on the Avengers, is good. He's been bad, but he doesn't symbolize the good in humanity.
He inspires more fear than he does inspiration.
And even when he is good, he's just more whatever. He's not doing it for the good of mankind. He's just with his friends. Pretty much. That also cut out, which for us, both Black Bolt and Namor, because they're both more indifferent. They're not really
very isolationist.
They're not bad, and most of the time they're shown as good guys. But they're not. They don't represent. They don't embody that Captain America, fight for your country kind of spirit. And in this case, it's planet / representing good. The other thing is they have to have some sort of stake in Earth. They need to be a resident of Earth, or at least a majority. They don't necessarily have to be a human. So for DC, for example, Superman would count. He lived here. So that crossed off right there. Silver Surfer. He's not. He doesn't live on Earth. He goes, and he doesn't really.
He just
represent good.
He helps somebody eat worlds, like causing death.
So yeah, the whole idea with so that crossed off most of those super strong guys. Now we did leave Thor in because even though he's we at first crossed him off because of the old school Thor, but the new school Thor with the Avengers and stuff, he really is more of like an immortal than even he's technically called a god. He spends more time on Earth than he does on Asgard. He's even defied his family and other gods to be here. He's very focused on Earth. When he's here, he's living here. He doesn't just come down and help. He like lives in the new Avenger or Ultimate Avengers. He's like a drunken hippie, basically. So he very much has a stake in Earth. He's on the Avengers team. So those are some rules we kind of set up for ourselves. Because otherwise we would just both pick like the strongest characters. Like, you know, like right there at those three. Just with, I mean, you just have this super, you just go through and wipe them out and it wouldn't really be much of a, you could say, like I said, Magneto, you could say, because that one short period of time when he was a good guy. Yeah. So you could really cheat. So it has to, that's how we simulated that database.
Alright.
So why don't you go ahead and say your first character. Oh, so we picked our characters and why. So.
Okay. So I am Cyclops, I have my optic glass. The first person I chose is Captain America.
Of course.
Of course, because he's my favorite hero, but then also...
And why aren't you wearing his Swedish shirt?
Because I'm poor and I don't have any money. But,
which is ironic, because I really like Captain America, but he's not nearly even close to being one of my favorites. Yeah. But I don't mind wearing the sweater because it's awesome.
And it's freezing cold. It's freezing cold right now.
Yeah, not in here, though.
Not in here.
Not today. Okay, so Captain America.
Because of his inspirative qualities, I mean, when he's on your team, like, you instantly, morale goes from, like, 5 to 10,000. I mean, he's just very inspirational. I mean, he's definitely someone that when he's telling you to do something, I mean, you don't say no, because, you know, it's because of his leadership. I mean, he's very good at not only making good calls, judgment-wise, on what's good, what's to do, what's not to do, seeing the battlefield, what kind of calls need to be made, and an unwavering sense of justice. I mean, people call him Boy Scout, just like they do with Superman, because he doesn't care. He doesn't want anyone to die. He doesn't want anyone to be lost or anything like that. And like at first, I was kind of like, why would I want someone else that's so commanding of leadership? They'd be like creating like dissension. But I realized I would need somebody that, because I make a lot of like kind of shooting from the hip type calls, and I need somebody that was very good at strategy and stuff that would argue with me and make me change my mind, because it's not that good of a decision.
All right.
All right.
Very well said.
Number one.
Let me just say real quick, I did not pick Captain America. So,
not at all?
Not at all. But kind of for the same reasons you did. Mm-hmm. Well, first off, power-wise, I don't really need him. I'm stronger than him and I'm tougher than him. I don't have his shield, so he has longer range than I do. But if I really want a range, I'd pick like Cyclops or something like that, you know. So I'm stronger and I'm tougher than he is. So I don't really need him for his power. So his main attribute is that role you said. But I'm also filling that role. One is my job as this is the position I've been put in. Now, and I see how you would fit more with Spider-Man, so that's good. You took that, but for me, I would see it as, I think our personalities are too similar, and we clash a little bit. Plus, I'm an unknown hero, because we said that. It's like Spider-Man, a couple of the guys knew him, but mostly didn't, and we would be unknown heroes, basically. So they'd be more likely to follow him than me, because he's more unknown. And I just felt that it would be a stumbling block, it'd be a little hard to get over. So I decided not to worry about that because we're too similar. We're too much like the same character. But he has,
I think he's more of a key type character because of his influence and his aura. I think, and the people's desire to follow him. If I could get him on my side, even if we're disagreeing on the same point, if I could get him to at least like follow under my leadership and become like a second in command. That'd be like the key to getting everyone else.
And he probably would, unless you were like being crazy, like let's kill them, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first one. Well, these aren't really in order. They're in an order that I use to help me figure them out, not so much in an order of For me, it's not my most important number. Don't look.
What? I can't read your writing. You know that.
Well, I can't read yours either. Yours is all just lines. So again, the order. I don't know about you, but for me, the order has nothing to do with importance, except that I'm doing my 8th one last, the wild card, because he did. So just because that's how it's written on my list is Wolverine, for 2 reasons. One, well, I mean, after Old Man Logan, I would never not put a team together without him.
Yeah, he's like using Captain America's shield like a pro, and Iron Man's armor
he's
like
awesome.
He just belongs in there.
But for 2 main reasons. One is he's a really good fighter, whether it be a strong opponent you're all attacking, or he's fighting hundreds of individual opponents. Just he's a really strong fighter for any situation, and I don't have to worry about him dying. He's like not going to. He's not going to be like a man down, and if he is, it's going to be for a few minutes while he heals, and he's going to be right back up. So I don't have to worry about him. He can just go in, and he can be just this. He's got our back, or he can handle a large situation. If it's to the point where we're storming a castle, and he has to stay back to buy us time, I don't have to worry about him. Oh, we just lost a good man. No, he's gonna come out of it alive.
Like having arms and legs like attached to him, dragging him, kicking.
He's gonna survive, and he can buy us a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked him. All right, who's your number 2?
Number 2 is the same guy for a lot of those same reasons. I mean, I picked him second because
he's awesome.
The first one, I mean, he's very clean cut, very Boy Scout, very this is right and this is wrong. Wolverine is fearless, and he's not afraid to get himself dirty. He's the guy that I'm going to send in when some people are going to have to die on this, or maybe somebody's going to have to get cut up. I mean, he's the one that's going to do all the dirty tasks that Captain America would never do, but he still has the same leadership quality that Captain America has as far as being in charge of a team. I can leave a few guys under his charge and not have to worry about them like revolting or mutiny or anything like that. Yeah, they're afraid. And he's tough. Adamantium skeleton plus the healing factor. I don't have to worry about him taking bullets or him anything like that because he's just up. I mean, you gotta say. I mean, you can't have a team. I mean, if somebody's like, "Whoa, that's like the Hulk's back." I mean, that's all you have to say.
What was I going to say? Oh, I've always liked Wolverine, the more I liked him as a kid, watched the cartoon, and I've always been. I didn't like to like the same as everyone else because I didn't want to just be like another person, like, oh, the Red Ranger, I'm the Red Ranger. You know what I mean?
Red Ranger was so whiny. I hated that guy.
I would pick opposite. So I like Wolverine, but I always picked Gambit. Because everyone else wanted Wolverine.
Who just barely got squeezed out of my team.
He wasn't even on there. I haven't liked Gambit for probably 10 years. As a kid, I loved him, and I was collecting comics. About high school, I kind of stopped caring about him. And then, of course, so I liked him, progressively got more and more. When he got on the New Avengers, I really started liking him. And now, after Old Man Logan, I love him. I would never put a team together without him on it.
Wolverine.
Yeah, it's just, he's amazing. Okay, my number 2. These are just really not in any complete order. These are in order of my strategy for how I would attack the bad guys, which we'll talk about at the end. I don't know if you came up with one, but
sort of it. We'll get to there.
Okay, my number 2, which may surprise you, is Mr. Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, I mean.
Irony.
Do you have him?
He's on my team, yeah.
Oh, is he? Okay. Because I mean, here's what I'm thinking, right? I won't say what my strategy is, but Peter Parker. I first criticized him for bringing the Fantastic Four just because they beat Doom. And then I was like, I've had better characters. I said, well, but then at the same time, I don't know, maybe it was a good idea to say, okay, Dr. Doom has he has a lot of different kinds of powers, but his most powerful, arguably, is probably his magic. And so I'm like, Doctor Strange could counter that. So I'm like, okay, if I have to send in 2 guys to take out Dr. Doom, it's going to be Doctor Strange and someone who is tough and can fight, you know what I mean? So I picked him to counteract with that magic, plus going with Peter Parker's idea, we're assuming that we're going to have to fight the Beyonder at the end, even though we know we don't because of the thing. So I'm going to say, unlike Storm to fight the Beyonder, I'm going to pick Doctor Strange because he actually might stand a chance because he has these magical abilities. So I picked Doctor Strange.
All right.
because it was magic. It's strategic.